Hello, broadcasters. Welcome to episode 232 of the StreamYard Live Town Hall. My name's Geige, and I'm here with Dan, of course. Dan, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. How you doing?
I'm doing well. Of course, happy Father's Day to everyone out there. I'm doing really well. We got some exciting feature announcements. Well, one feature announcement, and then covering the ones from last week. For anyone new here, Dan and I are the founders of StreamYard. We do these town halls every single Sunday at 6 p.m. Pacific. We do them for a few reasons. One is to stay in tune with all of you, go through the same flow that you all do with your own shows and productions. Two is to answer any of your questions. That's why we're calling it Ask StreamYard. So if there's anything you'd like us to touch on tonight, feel free to leave it in the chat. We'll do our best to get to as many as we possibly can. And then I always mention the three pillars of StreamYard, which are ease of use, stability, and professional stream. So if you're about those three things, StreamYard is the tool for you. See everyone hanging out from all over the world tonight. I think we had Mexico, and I think I saw Victoria again. Very cool. Before I forget, we have some awesome shows on our YouTube channel. We got Dee and Daniel the second Saturday of every month doing YouTube channel reviews. If you're looking to grow on YouTube, really great show where they give really specific advice and cover individual channels on things like, how could you be thinking about like your niche, your thumbnails, how often to post, any question you possibly have about how to grow a YouTube channel, they'll be able to answer it. And then we have Enhance Your live streams the last Tuesday of the month with Nick Nimmin, who's a pro when it comes to all things video, and definitely so check that one out for your live streaming questions. And one thing we've been doing at the start of these so that we get to know a little bit more about you and you get to know a little bit more about us is a fun fact. And the fun fact we had tonight was, what was the last concert that you went to?
Yeah, it's tough for me to actually remember what the last concert was. It was a while ago. There's two I can think of. I think Bryan Adams was the last concert I was at, but it could have actually been Tom Cochrane as well. How about you?
Cool. Yeah, I don't go to concerts very often, so mine was a super long time ago. But I believe the last concert I went to was actually with you and your dad, and it was Counting Crows in Vancouver, probably like somewhere between 5 to 10 years ago.
So 8 years ago, yeah.
it was a long time ago, but it was it was a good concert.
Cool.
All right, let's do a couple questions here and then get into some of the announcements. Muttnuts was asking, StreamYard, will you ever be adding extra camera to the basic plan? It's definitely something we're open to. Muttnuts, we're always thinking about, what features should be on which plan. So don't have any guarantee or a date or anything like that, but it's definitely something we're open to. Die Hard Football Podcast says, can we stream live to Twitch? Yes, absolutely. You can stream live to Twitch. Mike's Home ESL says, we tried the guest live streaming feature, but it did not appear on the guest channel. Is it a matter of time differences? I would be curious, Mike, which platform you were going live to. Facebook did have a couple brief outages actually last week, so that could have been it. But if it wasn't Facebook, if you could just shoot a message to support, they can troubleshoot with you.
Yep.
All right. And then some of the updates from last week before we get into the new one this week were the OnAir updates. So in case you didn't catch it last week, we added a bunch of really cool stuff to OnAir. Some had already launched last week and some were rolling out throughout this previous week, but they're all ready now. The first one was chat reactions. Do you want to talk a little bit, Dan, about what chat reactions are?
Yeah, just to explain as well, because I know sometimes we talk about StreamYard on Air. If you've seen other streams before, you use StreamYard on Air, you obviously already know what it is. But if you've never heard of StreamYard on Air before, this is basically our webinar and private live streaming product. So instead of streaming to YouTube or Facebook or LinkedIn, you can also stream to StreamYard itself and bring your viewers to StreamYard. It's quite a different use case than the social live streaming. It's more if you want to do more of like a private webinar, or you can also just embed it on your website. So if you want to stream to your own website. So that's what StreamYard on Air is. And yeah, 3 features for it that we launched last week. Chat reactions allows anyone in the chat to react to comments, and then those also show up in the studio. So if a whole bunch of people are liking a certain comment, that's kind of signal for you as the broadcaster that that's probably a comment you should address. So that was the first big one. You want to go through all of them here?
Yeah, I was just smiling because I saw Adam in the chat. We're not at the feature yet, Adam, but I believe it was you who's asked for like multiple years for this feature. So super excited that we're launching that. Cool. The next one for On Air was the ability to download the chat. So pretty self-explanatory. Like Dan mentioned, On Air is essentially our webinar platform or the ability to stream your own website. And we recently, not so long ago, launched the ability to actually embed the chat on your own website as well. But one thing that was coming up with folks is like, hey, it would be great to be able to download the chat so I can, anyone that I missed, I can follow up with, or, just have the names and what people said. So now you can actually download that as a CSV file, right, Dan?
Yes, exactly.
Cool. And then the final one was the ability to hide the viewer count. And this only applies on the viewership side. So for folks that, say maybe for whatever reason, you just don't want viewers to know how many other folks are watching, you now have the ability to hide that when you're creating the StreamYard on air.
Yep. Yeah, no matter what, you'll still see the viewer count in the studio, and your guests will still not see the viewer count in the studio. But this is very much for the viewers of StreamYard on air. They won't see the viewer count if you turn that off. By default, it's on.
Sebastian says, on-air requests would really prefer being able to moderate, hold all comments unless approved by the admin, and the ability to hide users from each other in some webinar scenarios. Yeah, definitely appreciate that feedback, Sebastian. We are adding a couple new features soon that would potentially address some of that, but maybe not those other use cases. So that's good to know. Any other thoughts on that one, Dan?
No, I guess you probably already know this, but our on-air team, our whole team watches these town halls. And so whenever you're giving us feedback, it's also passed on to the on-air team. So yeah, appreciate the feedback. And if anyone else has feedback for on-air or anything related to StreamYard, this is obviously definitely a good place to drop this. So appreciate that, Sebastian.
So we see lots of great questions. Let's do maybe one or two more, and then we'll get to the new announcement. Steven says, is there a way to create a custom layout for a single camera feed, i.e. broadcaster alone? Yes, absolutely, Steven. If you're in the StreamYard studio and you just click that edit button next to the layouts, you'll see the ability to, the dynamic grid is probably the easy, I guess you have the dynamic grid option or the ability to just choose an individual camera feed, but you can absolutely do that.
Yeah, there's basically, when you're creating a custom layout, there's, you may be familiar with, if you've done a custom layout, there's three options. There's dynamic camera grid, camera, and then screen share or media slot. If you just use an individual camera, that's the only thing you put in the custom layout. There will only be one visible camera, and then all the other cameras will be hidden, but you'll still hear them if they're added to the stream. Obviously, if you don't want to hear them, just remove them from the stream. Hopefully that answers it.
Awesome. Brooklyn Chick says, why do I get yellow on my StreamYard after StreamYard lives? If you give a little bit more detail, Brooklyn, maybe you're talking about, sometimes there will be like a yellow banner on StreamYard if you need to reconnect some of your destinations. I believe it's yellow. Maybe we change the color.
Depends on what happened. So it's yellow if one of them is, we have access to things like YouTube or LinkedIn for certain amounts of time. And about a week before we lose access to it, we'll give you a yellow warning that tells you to reconnect, and then it'll go red once we've actually lost access. So that could be what you're referring to, but if it's something else, obviously let us know.
All right. Cool. Let's get into the announcement for tonight, and then we'll get back to these questions. So yeah, really excited about this one. Like I mentioned before, it's been coming up for a super long time. So it's great that we're finally able to launch. It's still in the process of rolling out. So it's not available this second, but it will be rolling out by the end of next week. Everyone should have access, and that is the ability to have your guests post comments to YouTube. So this is just the first version, which is just for YouTube for now. You want to go into a little bit more detail on how it works, Dan?
Yeah. At first, just to talk about sort of the problem it solves here for anyone. I mean, some of you in the chat that have asked for it obviously know what problem it's solving, but there's cases where you have, let's say you're the host and you have 3 guests in the stream with you, and there's a YouTube chat, and they want to be able to interact with it. So they'll open up a separate window, go to YouTube, but now they have YouTube open. Sometimes they'll forget to mute it. They're kind of hearing it with a delay and everything. It can use extra bandwidth, even if they have it muted. It's not ideal to have 2 tabs anyways, because then they're kind of distracted and they're on another tab. So we've always wanted to have the ability for guests to be able to actually join the YouTube chat from within the StreamYard studio, so they don't need to have multiple tabs open. Just makes it a lot easier for them. And it's specifically, we may add it for other platforms eventually as well, but a lot of them, we don't have the ability to post through the API yet. Like LinkedIn, for example, has not yet built functionality for apps like StreamYard to be able to post comments. So we don't have it for LinkedIn. Facebook pages, if there's a lot of requests for it, we consider adding it to join the Facebook page chat. But profiles and groups, we also don't have posting permissions. Like you can't post comments to those. So that wouldn't really work either. But YouTube is the one that by far comes with the most in terms of guests wanting to be able to join the chat. So this first version is all about guests joining the chat. Twitch would be another one we'd consider if there's a lot of requests for it. But I think YouTube is just by far the most needed and most helpful.
Awesome. So yeah, if folks have any questions about the new feature, definitely let us know, or anything you'd like to see added to it in the future. Definitely let us know. But yeah, really glad to have finally been able to launch it.
And just to explain a little bit how it actually works as well. So if you're a guest in the studio and the host is streaming to YouTube, you'll see the ability to join the chat. It'll just be a button at the bottom of the chat. Join the chat. It'll ask you to connect with YouTube, whatever channel you want to post as, you connect, and then you're just ready to post. So it's pretty straightforward for people. There's definitely, not everyone's tech savvy, and especially a lot of guests might not be tech savvy. So we always try to make things very, very simple for guests.
Absolutely. Cool. Let's see what else we had here. I see your comments, Sebastian, about the green screen updates. Appreciate the feedback there. We'll definitely continue working with you on that. Let's see here. Scroll down a bit. Josh says, any update on the ability to pause and restart in the same record-only mode broadcast? Yeah, absolutely, Josh. That one's been coming up for a super long time. The team is in process, in the middle of working on a feature specifically for making recording much easier with the ability to pause and restart. Don't have any specific dates, but it is in motion, which means it's not too far out. Any other thoughts on that one, Dan?
No, I don't think so. I'm looking forward to it, though.
Hey, Chris, thanks for saying hi. I'm glad that you're enjoying time with the family. Meat Stick says, do you guys ever offer discounts? So we do offer a discount if you choose to pay annually versus monthly. And then we will occasionally do a smaller discount during Black Friday, but usually it's like a specialty type of plan or something. Musardi says, any plans to have God mode? I know there's a setting where you can turn off in the settings, but it only works if everyone has their cameras open. But when cameras are off, everyone disappears. Thanks. So I assume, Musardi, you mean you basically want it to work how it works now, but have it where avatars stay. You have the ability to have avatars stay on. Is that how you're understanding it, Dan?
Yeah, I'm still trying to understand exactly what it is.
If that's what you mean, Musarte, definitely let us know. Definitely want to make things as flexible as possible. I don't know exactly how we would go about addressing it. We want to make sure that it stays simple, but it's possible.
Yeah, if you can give us just details over exactly what it would look like on screen. So, for example, like I want to have 4 people on screen where you see the audio avatars. I want to have 3 more that are hidden. Or like, what exactly do you want to see? Because it sounds like you're probably pretty familiar with the audio avatar setting. Okay, you already just answered. So use the avatars to stay. So if you can just confirm again, do you just want, say, 3 people with avatars and then a few more people backstage where you just have audio? Let me know. The only way I can think of to do something like that right now is if you create a custom layout and you just use individual camera slots. So you could have maybe like 3 individual camera slots. You could put those people in their spots with, you would have that audio avatar setting on, the normal setting. They'd all have their camera off. You just see the avatars. And then say the 4th person enters, there's no 4th camera slot. So the 4th person will be hidden, but you'll still get their audio. So that would be there's a little more work, but that should work for you.
Cool. Ross says, does the guest comment show up as by their YouTube account? Yes. So whatever YouTube account they choose to connect in the studio to make that comment it'll show up like it's from them because it is from them. All right. There's another one here from Up the Middle. Says, is it possible to add individual control to the colors for features such as name, bubbles, ticker, banner, etc.? I'd like to mix it up. So anything involving overlays or videos, you have full options in terms of like how you want to do the color scheme. For things that are within the theme, you can choose the color, but it is sort of set in terms of like how the secondary colors work and everything. I don't know if it will specifically address your color question, but we do have some really cool features coming under the same sort of theme, I guess, of custom layouts that are going to add a lot of flexibility where it comes to controlling sort of every aspect when it comes to the production and look of your streams. It's not specifically exactly what you're asking, but it will give you a lot more flexibility.
Yeah, that is interesting. I'd be curious if anyone else has wanted that. And I assume what you want is like a white ticker, but a blue banner, for example, or blue name tags.
Cool.
Yeah, you'd have to kind of, the closest at the moment to being able to do that is, let's say you wanted you wanted like a black banner, but you wanted like everything else to be blue, you could just have an overlay that was the darker banner, but that is way more work.
Yep, absolutely. Ramon says, when I stream to Facebook, I always have to go to the Facebook page and click the tiny lock symbol to make my stream live on Facebook. What setting am I missing that would allow me to do this automatically? So that's, maybe you know off the top of your head, Dan, that definitely is not the default behavior. So I would guess there's just some sort of setting you have on your Facebook account that you likely need to change.
Yeah, so my first question, actually, when you say a page, I know sometimes that means a different thing for different people. Are you referring to your profile, or is this a company type page? Because we typically use the term page just for like company type page, and then profile is your personal profile. So if this is your personal profile, if you create a broadcast and you're in the studio, there'll be a section right at the top that says you won't receive comments from some viewers or something like that. And there's a learn more button. If you click that, it will explain the privacy setting stuff, because basically it's saying that you have to change the privacy setting to get comments. You can also just go to our live chat and kind of research it a bit, and you'll figure out how to do it. But there's a way to change your global setting on StreamYard for your profile. If this is for your page, then I'm not sure. Maybe if you can confirm, but I don't think pages have that setting. So I'm guessing this is for your profile, in which case, yes, there is a global setting you can get to, and there's a whole bunch of docs we have to explain how to change that globally. Because it'll often sometimes be set to only me or friends only or something, and you want to change it to public usually.
Perfect. Brooklyn says, how can I edit StreamYard after 5 or 6 hours live? Thank you. Yeah, so I mean, one of the great things we added not so long ago is after the stream's over, it will appear in your video library, assuming you're on one of the paid plans of StreamYard. And if you just go into the video library and click the 3 dots, there's an option to enter into our basic editor, and you'll be able to split it up, cut chunks out. It is pretty basic, but for how simple it is, you can do the majority of simple types of editing use cases, as long as that consists of, taking sections out and trimming things.
Cool. And I saw one more comment as well from Johnny that just mentioned I have to unlock viewers every time they go live. So we'll check this week just to confirm if Facebook changed anything, because you should be able to change that at a global level. Usually when you connect a profile, the default, I can't remember if it's only me or I think it's friends only by default. So you kind of have to change it, which is why we have that warning in the comments section. But historically, you've always been able to change it globally. So my hope is you can still change it globally, and you just need to find that setting. But we'll check just to make sure that still works, because Facebook does change things from time to time.
All right, let's see what else we had here. Packer Dude says, is there a way I can toggle the feature off so that guests can't comment through the studio? Because whenever we have guests, we always put the comment up on screen for them to read. I don't actually know, Dan. Is there an option to disable the ability for folks to join the live chat?
I can't remember.
We'll double check and get back to you,
Yeah.
Packer Dude.
Yeah, but I'm open to that for sure if we don't have it already.
Yep. Vinny says, is there an option coming to have more than one overlay shown at the same time?
And sorry, just for the last question, you can just hide the live chat for guests. So that might be the simplest solution for you. If you really don't want them to get distracted at all, you can just hide the whole chat.
Yep.
So that is an option at the very least, but we might add the ability. I think Dana just answered it. Yeah, you can turn it off as well. Okay. So you can turn off the whole live chat or just posting.
Perfect. So Vinny, the ability to show more than one overlay at the same time. So yeah, it's not possible now for folks that are trying to achieve that. We basically recommend layering it. So like if you have one overlay that you sort of want to transition to the same overlay with another overlay on top, we recommend just making another overlay, and you can sort of create the same effect. We are adding a lot more customization options in the future. I don't know for sure if it will include the ability to have multiple overlays at the same time. I would be curious, Vinny, just to learn more for our own sake, what the issues are in terms of like having multiple where you stack on the layers. Is it just more work than you like, or what would be good to know? Because that way I'll know how much of our roadmap will address what you're looking for.
And yeah, specifically what Geige means by layers, you might already get it, but it's like, say you wanted to put a logo in the top left corner or the bottom right corner or something, but then you also wanted to show like a banner or something, like a custom banner type thing. You could have one overlay that was just the logo thing, and say you want that logo to always be there. one would just be the logo and another one would be the logo plus the banner thing. Whereas what you're probably thinking is like, can I do one with the logo and then one with the banner and have 2 overlays? But you can just build an overlay that has both and switch on that overlay. I know not necessarily perfect, but that is what a lot of people will do.
Thanks for the extra context, Vinny. So yeah, that makes sense. For photos, we have added the ability to share like slides, and we are going to add more stuff to the present feature where it'll basically make it even easier to share like a whole set of photos. But I do know some people prefer to just use overlays, but that's good. That's good to know. All right. Noreen says, can I download my broadcast or video and delete it from my StreamYard account and then still share it to my sites? So I guess it depends how you're planning on hosting it on your sites, Noreen. So you can delete a broadcast or video from StreamYard at any time, 100%. But to share it, that would mean you'd have to basically re-upload it to somewhere. So like, Google Drive or something like that. If you delete it from StreamYard, we physically delete it from our system, right? So it's not really possible for us to allow it to like host it on or embed it on your site, right?
Yep.
Cool. Dice Grinder says, question, will you be increasing the number of guests on screen higher than 10? So I don't have a specific date or number for you, Dice Grinders. I would be curious how many folks you would like to have on screen. We have over time added more folks that you can have on backstage. So I think on Pro it's up to 15, right, Dan?
Pro is 12, Premium is 15.
Sorry, Pro is 12, Premium is 15. And then on the highest tier plan, there is the green room feature, which allows even additional folks in the green screen room. I am curious if is the number of folks you need, you really want all of them on screen, or it would just be more people sort of in the StreamYard area. But It's definitely possible that we'll add more in the future. Yeah,
and I'm also curious if, say you need 20 on screen, what kind of show are you doing with 20 people? Just curious.
Hey, Chantel. Chantel says, is adding system audio as an extra sound input on the roadmap so you can play music or sounds without having to screen share or use loopback or get an expensive hardware solution? Awesome. So you mentioned all the alternatives, right? So generally we direct folks to like loopback as an option or hardware as an option. It is difficult to like there is some complexity in the browser with sharing screen audio, but it is definitely possible in the future to work around that. We would have a downloadable version of StreamYard to allow exactly for system stuff like you're mentioning, like making it easier to share extra sound inputs. I don't have a date or anything like that for you, Chantel, but it's definitely something we're aware of as a pain point when it comes to audio and screen sharing. And we would like to be able to offer something beyond just having to go with hardware or something like loopback.
Yep.
All right, let's do a couple more here before getting into the giveaway. Justin says, any idea if we could have a quick download function from our 50-hour recordings to Google Drive? We already have some connection when we do Google Slides. Now I have to download them locally and then upload them to Google. Yeah, Justin, we definitely want to add an integration for Google Drive and likely Dropbox in the future as an easy way to get your recordings to those platforms, I guess. So stay tuned. I don't know when we'll add those, but it's definitely something we want to do. Yeah,
it's not something that's on our roadmap. Like this isn't the type of thing that's coming next month or anything, but maybe in the future.
All right. Should we, while I do a couple more here, Dan, should we go ahead and start queuing up the giveaway?
Let's do it.
All right. Let's see what else we had here. The Tangled Stitch says, feature request, is it possible to display the overlays in center screen and pop host / I guess probably guest to the left of the screen to look the way it does on the StreamYard giveaway tool? Do you want to take that one, Dan?
Yeah, just trying to understand it. Okay, I think I got it. So you want to display an overlay and basically have it behave kind of like a screen share in terms of positioning. So if I'm understanding that correctly, like I'm guessing maybe you're just sharing an image or something, like you have 5 images you want to share as overlays and just click them and go through them. You can do that now. It's not with overlays. You can do it with either screen sharing the images or creating a slideshow out of those images and then sharing that slideshow. I know none of those are super great solutions though. So that's where what Geige mentioned maybe 10 minutes ago is we are exploring being able to just share images easily and have them behave like a screen share. So it'd be just as easy as overlays, but it would behave more like a screen share. So that may come in the future.
Cool. Looks like folks here are mostly familiar with how the giveaway works. Let me hide this banner. But yeah, in case you're not, we always do a giveaway at the end of these town halls. And tonight we'll give away a StreamYard pillow and a StreamYard duck. To be eligible, all you have to do is type in hashtag the yard and you'll have a chance. And if you're ever interested in running a giveaway like this for your own show, we actually made this tool publicly available. And if you go to StreamYard.com/giveaway, it has all the instructions on how it works. So we'll give you all maybe 10 or 15 seconds or so to get in your hashtag the yards. We'll do a couple more questions here while we wait. Speak English with this guy says, is it possible to copy all banners in order to paste them into a Google Doc or something? That's a good question. Speak English. Not today. So we don't have an export functionality for banners or brand assets, but it sounds like that's likely something you want to see. But yeah, it's probably not too hard for us to add something like that.
I'd be really curious what exactly you're using it for as well. It'd be useful just for context. I mean, the closest thing I think you could try is take your cursor in the banner section and just drag it down and try and copy them all. I just don't know how well that's going to go.
It won't paste super nicely, but yeah, it does work.
Yeah, it's definitely not going to paste nicely.
All right.
Cool. What are we giving away?
StreamYard pillow and a StreamYard duck.
Okay, I think we're good to go, Geige.
All right, let's do it.
Good luck, everyone.
David.
Good Bozzy.
Thanks so much for hanging out with us tonight. If you could shoot an email to contact@StreamYard.com, the team can work with you on getting your address and shipping you your brand new StreamYard pillow and your StreamYard duck.
Cool. Congrats, David.
We have a minute or so left, so maybe time for one or two more questions. Dr. Stewart says, will it be possible to use native PowerPoint slides that are uploaded to Google Slides, as the specific SlideShare feature only picks up those created in Google Slides? So we definitely know PowerPoints are widely used, Dr. Stewart. So there are improvements we'd like to make with slides, including support for more types of formats. The other big one that we'd eventually like to add in the future, but it's complicated, is the ability to support if you have like videos and animations in the slides. But at some point, we'd like to support it, right, Dan? Any other thoughts on that?
I don't think so. Yeah, we'd like to just continue improving the SlideShare function. We haven't had it's been a while now since we've had a chance to improve it farther. So I'm hoping fairly soon we can kind of revisit it and just make several improvements. I'm not sure when that will be though.
And Captain Spaulding, I saw your comment for the issues that you're having. If you could add a little bit more detail on what they actually are, that would be helpful. Cool. And with that, this was episode 232 of the StreamYard Live Town Hall. Thank you all so much for spending time with us, especially on Father's Day. Hope you all have a great Father's Day, and we'll see you next week at the same time, Sunday, 6 p.m. Pacific.
Awesome. Thanks for hanging out with us, everyone. See you next week.